Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and I am back in my Creator Sim era. I say that as if I ever left. Honestly, it's been my favorite part of Townie makeovers, is giving them distinctive styles, distinctive looks, and distinctive personalities to match. But last year, I actually uploaded a video where I talked about kind of the forgotten swatches of Creator Sim. Basically, when you see an asset on a sim and you're like, I don't like the way that looks, usually if you actually go through the swatches, you can actually find something that you really like, and people kind of just dismiss things because of the very first swatch. And one of the top comments on that video was, I would love this similar idea but actually applied to makeup. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, because I know for those of you who can't download mods and also custom content, it's a struggle to only have to deal with like EA makeup. But I will say, since the introduction of sliders and actually like playing around with those sliders, I personally feel as if you can get some pretty distinctive looks, and also looks that look good. You just kind of have to put in the time and effort to get it to perfect. So I want to go through a couple of my favorites. You lot can also leave your favorites down below, what kind of swatches you are using, what makeup assets you're using. This is basically a hub for makeup in The Sims 4. Can we finally bring justice to EA default makeup? I personally think it's going to be a struggle, but I think we together can do it. Power of the Simmers. Now we are going to include some pretty like out there looks. Obviously these aren't like looks that you can pull off every single day. I do have some more like neutral ones kind of thrown in there as like everyday wear, and like the hints and tips to kind of get that like natural but still makeup look. But of course we're starting off with Alice Martin. Alice Martin is an artist, part of the eclectic art in Strangeville. I will say, hands down, every single sim that I ever create, masculine, feminine, presenting, no matter what, I am gonna be putting this like custom content that was then worked on alongside EA and was put into the game officially by Peachy Fairy. I'm gonna have it on every single sim. It's basically a nose and like Cupid's bow highlight. I absolutely love it. I usually, what I do is I'll find a swatch that matches the most. Usually I go for these two because it is a highlight and I want it to be quite prominent. But then depending on a sim's skin tone, how it's actually looking on specific sims, I will lower the opacity. Sometimes it can get a little bit blurry. I personally think that is brought on by the fact that obviously I have custom content default skin, but usually I can just bump it up a little bit more and it won't be pixelated. This is hands down my go-to. I just think it kind of adds dimension to their faces. It makes it look like they're realistic, makes it look like they have a little bit of shine. Moving on to the more dramatic pieces that we have on right here. This is actually an island living makeup look. I have actually matched this kind of like outrageously looking mermaid makeup, or typical mermaid makeup. I feel like that's what most people use it for, to actually match her outfit. And I love kind of going like out there with makeup when it comes to like artistic sims or sims who are really into fashion. I feel like a lot of the creative sims that I have, and also sims who like reside in city living, in San Myshuno or in Get Famous, kind of have those really prominent colors, very vibrant looks. I just absolutely love playing around with literally every single slider on this one. Usually I go for like pretty high saturation, but you can like tone it down. You can kind of get the pastels if you play around with saturation and also brightness. I also think this is really good if you're having like holiday celebrations within your game. I know a lot of players tend to use this when they throw like pride celebrations. The colors are gorgeous. That's why I am personally obsessed with this look in particular. She currently does have on this eyeliner. I will say I feel like eyeliner and blushes are really where the struggle comes in when you are only sticking to like EA default makeup. This is personally my favorite. It is also my girlfriend's favorite. I literally went into the room and was like, hey, I need your help. What makeup in the game do you constantly use? And she said, I put this on like almost every single sim. This is basically her version of the highlighter. That is because it is just so natural. All it does is add like a tiny little wing and also makes their lash line just look that little bit thicker. It's very natural looking. You can also turn it like more brown if you want to as well. Usually I'll click on this, which is a bit more red, and then you can just change the hue slightly to make it look more brown. Opacity is going to be your best friend in every single one of these looks. Now, when it comes to using like more vibrant and prominent makeup like this, like on the eyes, I tend to do the cheeks and also the lips in a more natural color, unless you want to go like full throttle, like in your face. I am actually on this sim right here using the high school years. I feel like blush, you kind of just have to throw everything that you know basically out the window. I don't know that much about makeup. I will hold my hands up and say it. If I do use EA, which is very rare because I tend to really like a lot of red on my cheeks and also my nose, you know, kind of like the e-girl sort of highlight that we have, which you can kind of get a little bit. I wish that it was like more red when it came to this one, but if you up the saturation, you can get there a little bit. I just basically go off whatever looks better on my sim. I tend to do the rest of the makeup look and then I'll throw blush on. Adds a little bit of aliveness to your sims. I don't know if anyone feels that way about blush. Does this look good on a sim? Does this match their skin tone? And then I have gone for quite a natural lip. I will say base game lips actually aren't that bad when you do start playing around with sliders. Like I feel I've barely touched this one. I've just kind of made it a little bit more brown instead of like a purple. Usually when it comes to creating a brown, I'll go for like a deep red or a deep purple, and then you can kind of just like go up on the hue just slightly, and then I'll bring down the opacity and I'll also like bring up the saturation, and I feel like that's how you get those kind of like earthy tones. I love a brown lipstick. I tend to use Cryptic Sims Chai an awful lot because it has those like earthy tones. It has a lot of browns and like deep reds and purples, and I think that to me personally is the makeup that I put on lips quite frequently. Moving on to her second look, which is definitely a little bit more natural. Obviously we don't have the very prominent eye makeup, so again for lips I've actually gone for a Realm of Magic one. This was actually a reply to the top comment that kind of inspired this video, saying ever since we got the sliders, I have been using like the Realm of Magic lipstick on pretty much every sim. And I can definitely see why. There's a lot of different like colors to it. And once you do start playing around with sliders, you can definitely get like more purple. You can get black if you want to. You can like push it to green. There's a ton of different ways to play around with this. You can kind of get it looking as if it's like kind of a Sims natural lip color with just a little bit of gloss on. Moving on to Penny Pizzazz, which, oh my goodness, a smoky eye. I'm sorry, but I feel as if personally I can kill a smoky eye in The Sims 4, and I'm gonna show you how I went about it. So I used this My Wedding Stories eyeshadow, and then eyeliner. I'm just using a base game eyeliner. I love using this specific eyeliner. It's kind of that more emo. When you first put it on a sim, it is pretty intense, but I think it even looks good like that. And then obviously you can like play around with the opacity just to get it to like a point where it kind of looks like it's giving under eye circles a little bit. And then on the lip, this is one of my favorite, the Goth Kit. There are so many different looks that you can get with this. There is a little bit of like wobbliness towards the like side of a sim, but you can't really see it like face on, and I feel like that's how most of us see our sims like a lot of the time. Of course, again, this one's a little bit more fun. Okay, it's Penny Pizzazz. She's a style influencer, icon, social media legend. I mean, the list goes on. Penny is always bringing that pizzazz in my game. I feckin' love her. I've obviously very clearly matched this to this little Clueless outfit. This eyeshadow right here is also another one of my favorites. It's part of the MAC collaboration. I use this a lot on like party wear and also formal wear, especially if your sim has like a little bit of fun to them. I guess you could say a little bit of pizzazz. Anything that is super bold like this when you first put it on, like you can even make it brighter if you want to, but it's already so bright. I just feel like the bold looks can just create so many cool colors, and I use this one so frequently. You can also mute it down again, kind of be a little addition to a look. And then vampires. I put this lipstick on my gothic sims an awful lot. My townie makeover of Cassandra Goth absolutely rocks this lipstick, can I just say. I just think it's different. Not a lot of people use it, I don't think, but I think for those like alternative sims, I just love the kind of like cut off that it has, and then the like line in the middle. The black swatch is personally my favorite, but obviously again, you can play around with this if you want to, especially if you are like Penny Pizzazz and you kind of have like a lime green outfit. It's like, okay, let me just get this looking like a little bit more lime green. We're gonna add some brightness onto that. Does it look like she has been at the Nickelodeon Choice Awards? Yes. Do I mind that? Absolutely not. Ooh, one of my favorite townie makeovers. Can I just get some love for Vanessa Jiang right now? Oh my goodness gracious me. Also, one of my favorite looks I think I've ever done in The Sims 4. Now, this is very similar to the look that she has actually with custom content, which I was so impressed by. I literally just used a base game eyeshadow. I started off with this pink, and then I was like, no, wait, I want to get it like more baby pink. So let me brighten it up a little bit. We will take out some of the saturation, we'll bring down the opacity, and then boom, like you've got a baby pink. No eyeliner, again, no cheeks. If I wanted to, I could definitely just add a little bit of definition into her cheeks. I could go again for the more like rosy look, or I could go like a little bit darker and then just like bring down the saturation. And then this MAC lipstick. This one is my go-to swatch. I absolutely flippin' love it. I just love this like lipstick in general. I think it's absolutely one of the best lipsticks. I think it's probably one of the most like underrated assets that we got from the MAC collab. And the way that it looks, like with the matteness of it, it looks like custom content. Like this whole look, it screams custom content to me. Not that I agree with MAC, because obviously like animal testing. And then, oh my word, my golden child. Honestly, one of the most underrated assets in makeup, it is this right here. This is what it actually looks like. I feckin' love this. Not really in the black. In the black, it is giving a little bit of Black Swan vibes. It's a bit too dramatic for my liking, but the pastels, the like color swatches that they chose from the get-go are delicious. I use the orange so much. I use the yellow a fair amount if I have a sim who's really into yellow, and then this one, but just like muted the tiniest amount. I just think this eyeliner is delicious. You can tell how often I use this. I have literally so many swatches of it, and that's because I use it so frequently. I just think it's such a nice way to kind of tie in your Sims makeup to the look that they're wearing. If you have never used this specific eyeliner, it's the first MAC swatch. Please go into your game and use it. Like, just bring down the opacity a little bit. It's already got some great pastels for you to choose from. It's fecking gorgeous. I am obsessed. And then to match that swatch, I'm sorry, but I perfectly got the Get Together. Where is it? Where's it chilling? This Get Together one right here, which is bright blue. They gave this one the swatch treatment. I don't know why they chose that hideous blue as the go-to swatch. I don't know why you would hide this like stunning piece of lipstick behind that. Again, it's like super matte. This one honestly resembles the MAC one, so if you don't want to use the MAC in your game, then you can definitely take advantage of this if you have Get Together. I tend to start with one of the reds or the pink, and then also the brown swatch as well. Oh my goodness. Vanessa, I need to stop. I'm crushing hard. I am falling for this woman the more I play around with her makeup. Another one of my underrated faves. I feel like I never see anyone but me use this. Not to be a pick me, There's this one from Get to Work. Now, Get to Work, in my opinion, gets a special shout out for its makeup section. I know a lot of the makeup had to do with obviously like aliens, so they did go out of this world for the kind of get to work stuff, but it's so good for party wear and for formal wear. I have gone for a green to kind of tie in her outfit. I could also go for a pink here as well. I think the swatches on this are literally so good that you honestly really don't have to play around too much, but then you could obviously just use this if you do like that more like e-girl style of makeup. You can just kind of add this to get like, you know, the red like eyes around here. Not pink eye, I'm not talking about that, but like, you know, a little bit of color, a little bit of fullness to this area of your face. And then also again for the smoky eye, I use this literally all the time. I just lower the opacity a little bit and then I'll throw on an eyeliner. Right now she has the Supernatural one on, not as in like supernatural as in a it's like natural looking, but if you want to go for more of the smoky look, I feel like these two are the way to go. I flippin' love it. Before we move on to her second look, I obviously want to carry on the Get to Work love. I use these an awful lot as well. If you just want to add like a pop of color around your Sim's face, if you kind of want to go a bit more like artistic when it comes to their makeup, I think every single one of these is really, really nice. And then you also have like the scale type ones as well. If you want to use those for kind of like going out looks, you also have this one, which looks like a paint splatter. I think this one's really nice for pride. There isn't like a rainbow swatch, which I wish there was. And then for her lips on this one, I definitely went way more just like, you know what, just add a little pop. So it is this MAC one. That's what the default swatch looks like. I tend to not really use the red unless I'm really lowering the opacity. This one really kind of depends on your Sim skin tone and like matching it up. Kind of looks like maybe you used a chapstick. Where's the chapstick? One of my favorite internet memes. All we have on is a slightly bigger winged eyeliner. So obviously this is the one that I've talked about an awful lot, which just adds a kind of wing to the side and thickens it up. If you want to go slightly more dramatic, this is also another one of my go-tos. Again, you can just play around with like saturation if you don't want it to be like as thick, but I love the boldness of that one. And then on the lip, I usually hate the kind of glossy tones that we have in the game. I don't think really any of the glossy lips look that great in their official swatches. I do, however, again, opacity is your best friend. I feel like you can get it looking okay. It's still not my favorite the way like the light hits it, but I genuinely think in game this looks better than in Creator Sim. And then we have Miko. Love the little gold flecks that we have going on right now. Obviously, I've already talked about the Get to Work eyeshadow. We do have on also the Get to Work lip line. This is so sick. I know this probably isn't one that you're going to use all of the time, but I do love the fact that I managed to make it gold. Again, if you want it for your more alternative Sims, your gothic Sims, your little emo kids, there you go, lads. And she actually has the white eyeliner that I was talking about. Like, I know when you see this, you're probably like, ugh, no, why would I ever want to use that? But if you just want to brighten up their eyes a little bit, just bring down the opacity and boom, you got a really light pink effect going on. These ones are just honorable mentions because I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself a little bit, so I'm just gonna throw this one out there. Again, just a little bit fun. Does kind of give fish lips when you're looking at it from this angle. I've never watched SpongeBob, but the puffer fish, it's kind of giving that. However, in the lighter shades, I think it's pretty fun. And then I really love this eyeshadow. Again, it is MAC. I've just played with the opacity and like the pastels a little bit. This one is probably the one I use the most just because it reminds me of strawberries, but if you do play with the hues, you can definitely get some really nice mix and match of colors. And then this is just like super natural. I am using, once again, the kind of like two-tone MAC, but I have brought it all the way down. It literally barely changes the color of her lips. I have this MAC blush on right now, which again is only really up here on the temples. I will say, if you're not really vibing with any blushes, but you're like, I just want a little bit of color, maybe like up here. The only thing about this is you can't mess with like the saturation or anything, which I don't know why. I don't know why on the MAC blush specifically. That's like the only one where you can't play around with these, because I think this would be perfect if you could get it more in that red tone. And then for her eyes, I have just used this swatch of the base game one. This is like my go-to if I kind of want to strip back the makeup a little bit. There we have it. Those are all of like my most used like makeup if I do choose to use defaults. I feel like a lot of people don't go quite as bold as I do sometimes. So when I do upload tiny makeovers or like show them off, people are like, oh my god, where is this asset from? And I'm like, it's in your game. I know I really didn't talk about like masculine sims, but that's because I think the EA like default makeup, honestly, even custom content a lot of the time doesn't look great on masculine sims, unfortunately. It gets super wobbly. I don't know what it is about like the makeup of their faces that makes it different to how it looks on a feminine sim compared to a masculine sim. But obviously you can see this is like so like perfectly like up in a point, and then you go to a masculine sim, you apply the exact same makeup, and it just turns into a wiggly worm at the bottom of the garden. I wish that they did an overhaul of how makeup actually looks on masculine sims, because I think especially for a lot of people who like creating drag queens or just like having masculine sims wearing makeup, it really just takes you out of the game and it just looks terrible. If you do want to add makeup, oh, this one from Get to Work as well, I kind of forgot to mention that. It's kind of the same as the band across, however it's just like underneath. Again, very good for a smoky eye. Definitely use like the eyeshadows that I've mentioned on masculine sims, however unfortunately eyeliner is where it gets very finicky. A lot of these still work the same way. The MAC is actually really nice on masculine sims. I don't know if I talked about this MAC one, but it's actually two-tone, so the top lip is slightly darker than the bottom lip. Also a really good one if you want to play around with neutrals. This swatch in particular. But I hope this video was helpful. I'm sorry that I don't know all the like makeup terminology. I feel like someone who's actually like really into makeup was probably watching this video being like, girl, what are you chatting about? Obviously, I will say I do still have a custom content skin within my game, so if they're not hitting the exact same way, that may be why, because I have not seen the EA default skin in literally years. But I just say have fun with the sliders. Don't be afraid to spend 3, 4, 5 a whole day in Create a Sim. That's what I do with a lot of my time, even though I shouldn't probably be admitting that on the internet. Hey, it gives me an excuse as to why my save file is taking as long as it is. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to leave any of your favorites down below, definitely feel free, because I just think that all of us sharing our hints, tips, tricks is just gonna up everyone's sims. So thank you all so much for tuning in. If there's any other like Create a Sim little hacks, things that you want to see, things that you forget about frequently in Create a Sim, videos that you would like to see based on Create a Sim, feel free to leave those in the blooming comments down below, because this is my happy place. It's my safe place of The Sims 4. I appreciate you all, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.